Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome to the discussion for the solo variant of Carnegie, which was a game that I was like, okay, how are they going to end up doing a solo variant for this? Because it seems like this is definitely one that is geared a little bit more towards multiplayer, but I gotta say, the solo variant is extremely good. So for the run-through that we did, I did it as a 2-player run-through. And both of us agreed that in a multiplayer game, 3 players is probably is going to be the sweet spot. For this kind of game. In a 2-player game, it's a little bit too free for, in the donations, for example, it's most people are going to be able to get the donations that they want, so then it's just the same amount of swing in, oh, I got 12, you got 12, I got 12, you got 12, yada yada. And it just goes like that. And in a 3-player game, more people are being contentious for donations, so it's oh, I got 12. Okay, well, because of that, he took that one, so that got him 12 and not you. And it's just more points being spread out across multiple people. But, and so in the solo variant, you of course set it up as a 2-player game, and you're going against the dummy. And I found this to be way better as a 2-player solo game, the solo variant, way better than the actual the 2-player multiplayer experience, which is very strange for any of you who have watched my channel for a long time, and you especially watch my solo variants and solo discussions. You know that I actually tend to hate AIs that get stuff for free, where you have to struggle for constant upkeep. You have to struggle with money or food or resources, and the bot is just oh, take this, take this, take this, take this. And that's exactly what Carnegie does, because he doesn't have to worry about study points. He doesn't have to worry about money. He doesn't have to worry about cubes. He doesn't have to worry about any of this. He just gets to do his actions and yada. And you would think that would be extremely annoying, because you do have to manage money, you do have to manage your cubes, and you have to manage your workers. He doesn't have any workers. And I find that the way that this game does it is it's not annoying. And I think the reason is because you have quite a bit of information, and it replicates what you think about in a multiplayer game as well. Because in a multiplayer game, you're trying to be as efficient with choosing your actions so that you maximize your turn better than everyone else. Because it's one of those games where this is the action that you pick, it's your turn to pick, everyone else does that action as well. And the solo variant is no different. When you pick an action, you do your action like normal, and then he also follows based off the cards. He also follows the same action. It's just now weaker. And I think that is extremely fascinating. I think it's awesome, because whenever you look at his cards, you see on the back, oh, this is the action he wants to construct. So he's going to do a really powerful construct action if you let him. So if you also want to construct, you better make sure that you're going to be able to do a bomb, a bomb-ass construction that is going to at least compensate for what he's doing. Now, you don't know exactly where he's going, just like you wouldn't know exactly where someone else is going in a multiplayer game. So in this case, it's okay, I'm going to risk it. I'm going to be able to do the construct action because I can pull people to get a lot of income and then use all that stuff to be able to do an action. And I get to place, I have enough cubes and I have 3 workers I'm going to be able to place here and take up some spots. And then he flips it over and it's well, you did the construct action, so he's going to place in Albany, New York, Washington, and Pittsburgh. And it's shit, that kind of sucks, because that's essentially, you can add up the points, because if that was Albany, New York, Washington, and Pittsburgh, then that would be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's a 10-point swing, effectively, is what that action does. So you better hope that whatever you did is going to at least equal or lead to you equaling more than 10 points. And if he always got to do the action, then that would just be annoying. He would just be way too overpowered. And the game rules specifically state, like, Andrew Carnegie himself will be the virtual opponent. It goes without saying it will be difficult to win against him. Yeah, like, I thought I had this in the bag with the leap of just in-game points that I had, and I won by 3. Now, again, I forgot to set up, funny enough, my starting house, so I kind of compensated by, I'm like, okay, I'll give myself 2 points. So if I didn't do that, then I actually would have just won by 1 point. But it's extremely fascinating because you're looking at what you can do, and then you get to see, here is what he wants to do. Because at the beginning of every round, you always take the next card and you put it over, or at least whenever you're choosing. You move the card over onto the 0 victory point track, and you go, okay, that's the action he wants to do. Can I do anything else? Because it's like, I guess I'll do human resources, because I can do this and this and this. And then you flip that card over and it's like, oh, okay, because it's human resources, he does that action, it just moves over 1. So that only gives him a 1 point, because you effectively took 9 points away from him because you didn't do the construct action. And again, they found a really awesome balance of, you get to see what he wants to do, you don't do that, you capitalize off that. But then, well, he does get a turn. So then he goes, and then it doesn't matter what you want, because that very next card, which you can see he wants to do, because you can see the next card, he flips it over, and it's like, okay, he's moving 3 over in the south. So he's going to get a powerful turn, then you pick, and you could give him a powerful turn, if you so choose. But if you're constantly giving him what he wants, trying to you cannot match him. I do not believe that if you were to do this, all the same actions that he wanted to do when it's your turn, there's no way. He does get too much free stuff. He would place too many cubes. He would place, because eventually he runs out of discs. So if he runs out of discs, it's not like you stop him. Like, he has these discs placed out, and then now, when he can't place discs, then he just moves that card over, so that's just more points for him at the end of the game anyway. So I found that you have to balance it, and it is such an awesome brain exercise. If you watched my run-through, I did not do particularly well. Funny enough, before we had done the run-through, I was like, you know what, I want to try something. And I tried the strategy I did in the solo run-through, where it's like, can you do well by getting in-game victory points, if that was your entire strategy? And you can. 129 points is a good score, I think. I was struggling, for the most part. I was like, okay, I need money, I need cubes. But what was great is every time he did something, it wasn't like, oh, I can't do anything. Oh, I can't do anything. I was struggling, but I was still able to keep it manageable. And because you can see what he wants to do, then you're like, oh, he wants to do this action, so therefore I'm going to do this action, which lets me place people out on missions. So then, because I know he's doing that action, that's going to cause it to go into the west, so then I can pull my person, get my income, get my 4 to 6 points, and just kind of do that, so I can use what I see from him to benefit me, which you can do in a multiplayer game. That's the most fascinating part about this. The game takes just as long. It equates to about the length of a 2-player game, if not quicker, just because you don't have to wait for someone else to think. You can just, okay, well, boom, it's my turn, I'm going to do this, it's his turn, I'm going to do that. And I'm just blown away by the solo variant. And even whenever he was taking development tiles, I wasn't sitting here going, oh, great, I can't take any. If I wanted specific tiles, then I should have gotten them. And he always takes the lowest, so if the ones that are out, you can see if there's one that's very low, then I should probably try and grab that first. It doesn't say whether or not he takes duplicates. I assumed he did. So that might be a mistake on my end. If there's 2 3s left, and he's taken 3 tiles from human resources, does he take the 2 3s, or does he do a 3 and a 4, because you can't have 2 tiles of the same type? I assumed that rule didn't apply to him because he just kept a stack of them. But it's so funny because you would think, and it's possible how he's going to score, you would think that he would get a lot of points from the cards that are actually moving across. And again, this was normal difficulty, and I barely beat him. I mean, I'd probably just get whooped in difficult or expert. But he didn't get as many points from the actual cards. He only got 3 out to the number 10, which is still 30 points. Like 36, 39, 40 for him. He got 43 points from the cards, which was, I think, a little under how many I got in terms of in-game victory points. The number one, not necessarily complaint, but the number one weird thing I can see that would annoy a lot of people is how his donations work. Because he obviously doesn't have to deal with money or cubes, and I actually prefer the way they did it here than what normal games would do. So whenever a donation happens, obviously you just flip the card and it's like, okay, that's the one he takes. If he can't, then this just moves over. It's really nice that it isn't like, oh, if he can't take that one, he takes the one less. It's just, nope, he's going to compensate by getting victory points. But what's really interesting is the fact that his donations, he gets points based off what you do, which is so bizarre. And I even read it in the run-through of their tip, which I'm so glad that they have tips in here for that, because it's like, wait a minute. Why does he get points based off the industry buildings that I've placed? Like, just cause. I mean, that's just the way they did it. It's I mean, they tried to make it thematic where it's like, businessmen of Andrew's caliber don't care. But what's fascinating is I like the fact that they didn't just make it, every donation he just gets 12 points. He just always gets the max amount of points. That would just be dog shit. Because that would effectively mean he could potentially get a total of 8 cubes out or 8 discs out, and then just get, 88, 94. He would just get 94 points if that was the case. So again, similar to how you can see what actions he wants to take. Okay, donation coming out, you don't know which one he's going to take, but then you can see it and be like, okay, well, he's going to get points for industry buildings that are now out. I'm not going to do that because that's just going to get him, potentially 12 points if I followed that. So I actually don't mind it, which is super weird because you would think I would hate it because it's like, well, that's not fair. Like, why does he get points just for doing what I'm doing? And you could get screwed. You could get one where you were doing, like he took the one, it was 2 points per small city, which was my entire strategy of getting to Chicago to connect it. And it's like, that was 10 points for him. And I didn't get the 10 points. But I think it's also compensated by the fact that he doesn't do links. Like, just because of the way that he places his out, he's not going to get, he just gets 6 points if he's maxed out on the end of all the tracks. Or each track he gets 6 points. I like the fact that they didn't try and make it to where, how many did he link to, and then all that, because that would also be a little bit broken. So I think that's why they also put the donations, is he gets points based off what you do, to compensate for the fact that, I got 18 points because I am able to try and link up cities. Potentially, if I went a little bit more into that, I could have connected them all. Maybe not all of them, but at least one more to make it 4, which would have been 27 points. But I didn't go that strategy. So I think it's actually brilliant. I think it works out extremely well. To be completely honest, I do not have any complaints with the solo variant. You still get to play the way you want to play, which is always my positive. It's not hard at all to play him. It might be hard to beat him, just because playing on normal and there's 2 more difficulties, which just lower, and it's super simple to set up. It's the number of normal cards versus advanced. In an expert game, I believe it's 10 advanced and 10 normal. Yeah, 10 and 10. Expert is 5 normal and 15 advanced. And there's enough in here, so all the advanced cards are, it's all these, and then I think there's 5 more. So because there's a beginner. In a beginner, it's all normal cards, so you can predict everything he's going to do. In normal, of course, there's 5 cards you don't know what he's going to do. Then expert or difficult is 10 cards you don't know what he's going to do. And expert, all of them. You have no idea what actions he's taking. So you can't predict what he's doing at all. I should have done it on expert just to see how badly I just got annihilated. And that seems a little much, just because in a multiplayer game you can see what someone potentially might do, or try and, hedge your bets. But nope, it's just no idea. Yep, that's Andrew Carnegie. That's why he's the elite businessman. So yeah, anyway, it allows you to play like normal. You can try a various number of strategies. I don't see any reason why you couldn't put in the expansion stuff, because he doesn't need to worry about a building board, so it doesn't matter which departments you have. The modules, or not the modules, the donation spots changing shouldn't matter either, because he's just going to take them, so that now it only applies to what you as a player do. Yeah, it's extremely... and I think I won just by happenstance. Because I never did industry, and I thought about doing it multiple times, but because I was using my cubes for the public infrastructure, I didn't have the cubes to do industry. But literally, if I had done the very first one, we would have tied. And I don't even know what the tiebreaker is. I have never tied, so let me check. Oh, nope. No tiebreakers. Tied players must shake hands and savor their shared victory. So, we would have tied, and I'd be like, all right, good going, me. Yeah. And the other cool thing in this solo variant, because you actually alternate taking turns, is you can keep track. You always start. So there were multiple times where I was like, crap, did he just go or did I just go? Okay, well, me, him. Oh, okay, it's his turn. Oh, I forgot to move that. Even in the run-through, I forgot to move it one time, and I'm like, crap. Me, him. Okay, it is me. And then I just move it back. So clean. So freaking clean. And yeah, I mean, this is a solo variant that it's like, okay, do I have 3 players to play Carnegie? No? Okay, I think I'll just play it solo. I would much rather play this over a 2-player multiplayer game. It's just that much cleaner. And the board felt less restrictive, and I think that's just because, or not restrictive, it felt more restrictive, which is actually a good thing. Because I didn't know where he was going to go, and because if he does a construct action, he does a lot of cities, that he does fill up the board quite a bit. That it felt like that I had to really get to my cities, quicker than normal. And the donations, because you didn't know which donation he was going to take, it felt more like a, kind of like, I don't know, I just liked the fact that it was a little bit more restrictive, because in a multiplayer game, you can be like, oh, well, they have a lot of cities in the east, so they're going to take that one. Should I take that? Because you can't cutthroat play against him, because you just don't know what he's going to do. You just get to, you have limited information, you know what action he's going to do best on. If you do that, you're probably going to get burned, so do something else, but he still gets something. It's fascinating. Carnegie solo variant on a scale of 1 to 10 is a 10. I really, really like it. Just the sheer amount of variety, because also multi-use cards is great. Just because this is the one where he wants to do a construction action, and yeah, that would get him 3 tiles, which is effectively 6 points. That doesn't mean that you know it's going to be 3. You don't know what the human resource is going to do. You don't know what the construction is going to do. And you don't know what R&D is going to do. Because between both of these, they're different. This one right here on R&D, he moves it 1 on the west. This one he moves it 2 in Midwest. And because of that, let's say he moves it 2 in Midwest, but the previous action caused him to move it all the way to the end. Well, now he moves it twice, so that's 3 points for him. It's fantastic. This is a game that I would actually recommend to go out and get just for the solo variant. It's that fascinating. So if what's his face, Xavier Georges, if he's the one who designed the solo variant as well, because normally in other games it's here's the main designer and this person did the solo variant. If he designed the multiplayer game and the solo variant, he did a stellar job. So, yeah, can't really think of any other negatives. It's super good. So that is my thoughts on the solo variant for Carnegie. Let me know what you think of the game in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.
Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.